Yeah, video, what, 4 in a row? 4 in a row where I'm wearing the outfit? Like, what would I do if I just started doing every video wearing the outfit? Like, honestly, I'm just wearing the pirate fit. What? Yeah. I need to get myself a sword, right? And I need to fix this stupid belt, and I need to get covered in dirt and be messy and make it even more wrinkly. I don't know if wrinkly is like the play. What one of the guys I'm going with, he owns the Elucidator from shoot, what was that show again? Sword Art Online, because he has a Kirito costume. I don't know why. He's had it for a long time. I'm so tempted to tell him to bring that sword and just swing it around. I think he also has the other one. I swear to God, we're gonna be just a gang of people in costume for Halloween at this point, because there's me. There's him, both of us in like the peasant outfits that are really like pirate at this point. Like peasants don't be wearing that. There's the other guy who is many times mentioned. They're like, hey guys, can I bring my fursuit? Can I wear my fursuit? Can I wear my fursuit? And then my other friend who's like, hey, so do I have to come in the peasant outfit? Because I don't really want to buy one. Like, yeah, sure, no, come join us. You don't have to buy it. And then like, you know, literally this conversation happened as I was recording the last video. He was like, can I come in an Evel Knievel costume? That's the only costume I really have right now. Can I bring that? And we're like, well, we're not gonna stop you. We don't really care that much. We're just gonna be a gang of guys walking around just like, hey, Halloween's happening. No, Halloween will have already happened by the time we're like, Halloween happened. Let's wear costume. Let's wear costume. Actually, now that I think about it, let me check the clock. Yeah, I actually lied. I think in one of the earlier videos, as I was wearing this earlier that I recorded like maybe an hour or 2, 3 ago, I don't know how long it's been, I mentioned that I think it was this upcoming weekend. No, it's 2 weekends from now. Yeah, it's 2 weekends from now. Anyways, none of that matters. None of that matters. You know what does matter? Texas Bill SB 2420. This, oh my God, I cannot wait for every single person on the planet to have access to all of my datas. Give me your datas. Give me your datas. That's, oh my God. My throat did not like doing that. That is what every single app developer in the world no longer has to say whenever it comes to the people who live in Texas. Because what Texas has decided to do is said, oh, app developer, did you want our constituents' data? Here you go. You can have it. You can have it. Just for the good of being you. And because we don't want children to see porn, here you go, app. Here is all of our adults' data. This is an act that has already passed and will go into effect on January 1st of next year. So I have a little over a month of complete security and anonymity whenever it comes to downloading apps from app stores. Basically, what this bill says: when an individual in this state creates an account with an app store, the owner of the app store shall use a commercially reasonable method of verification to verify the individual's age category under subsection B. And then a bunch of other stuff, a bunch of nonsense about how and what and whatever, and we can read through the whole bill. Essentially, what the bill says is every single time an individual downloads an app from an app store, either it's the Apple App Store or the Play Store or the Samsung Store or like any app store really, they have to verify that user's age through some means, through some method. And another really cool part is the bill already says whenever you download something from an app store, we have to verify your age, right? Using whatever method they're going to find to verify a person's age. And you know, in America, the most common and easiest one is to obtain their ID, their government identification, because that just is like, okay, here's your age, this is your age, there we go. I'm more than willing to bet that this bill is not going to allow like some kind of algorithm to determine someone's age. Especially once we get down to this part of the bill. The owner of an app store that operates in this state violates this subchapter if the owner obtains a blanket consent to authorize multiple downloads or purchases. Obtains blanket consent. So if I create an iTunes account and I give them my ID that says, hey, I'm over 21, I'm a legal adult, I mean, over 18, whatever, or over 21, whatever the law ends up being at some point, you know, hey, App Store, hey Apple, look, I'm this old, I'm this age, give me the freedom to download every app. That's blanket consent to authorize multiple downloads or purchases. per this law, they can't do that. It has to be, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm aware after reading through this, it has to be at the point of download. Every single time I have to verify. So I can imagine myself going to the App Store and saying like, oh, okay, I want to download this app. Let's click the download button in conjunction with having to scan my fingerprint to verify that it's mine or type in my password or whatever. I mean, I can imagine the future where I do this and then now I'm prompted to scan my government ID whenever I do that. Am I insane? Am I insane? Am I insane? Like, this feels crazy. This feels absolutely crazy. You know what's even crazier? You know what's even crazier? There is nothing in this bill. There is not one piece of language in this bill. I might be wrong about that. I might have misread something. That protects the consumer whenever it comes to these companies obtaining our data. The only thing in here that is in regards to that, protection of personal data, the owner of an app store that operates in this state shall protect the personal data of users by limiting the collection and processing of personal data to the minimum amount necessary for verifying the age of an individual, obtaining consent under section blah blah blah, and maintaining compliance records and transmitting personal data using industry standard encryption protocols that ensure data integrity and confidentiality. What I'm reading here is transmitting personal data using industry standard encryption protocols that ensure data integrity and confidentiality, okay? Whenever I scan my ID and my ID is sent to whatever server verifies that I'm my age, right? That is the transfer of the data that requires industry standard encryption protocols. Once my ID is at the other location, there's no need to worry about transfer anymore. Now, wherever my ID ends up, as far as I'm aware, after reading through this document, this law that's going to go into place, there is nothing on any company to ensure that my ID stays safe wherever it ends up. There's nowhere on this that says they're not allowed to retain that information. There's nowhere on this that says they have to delete that immediately after. There's nowhere on this that says they're not allowed to resell that data later on. Another thing, we're gonna look here on the page, this is the developer.apple.com page. Beginning on January 1st, 2026, a new state law in Texas, the bill introduces age assurance requirements for app marketplace and developers. While we share the goal of strengthening kids' online safety, we are concerned that the bill impacts the privacy of users by requiring the collection of sensitive, personally identifiable information to download any app. Even if a user simply wants to check the weather or sports scores, Apple will continue to provide parents and developers with industry-leading tools to help enhance child safety while safeguarding privacy within the constraints of the law. Once this law goes into effect, users located in Texas who create a new Apple account will be required to confirm whether they are 18 years or older. All new Apple accounts for users under the age of 18 will be required to join a family sharing group, and parents or guardians will need to provide the consent for all App Store downloads, app purchases, and transactions using Apple's in-app purchase system by the minor. This will also impact developers who will need to adopt new capabilities and modify behavior within their apps to meet their obligations under the law. Similar requirements will come into effect later next year in Utah and Louisiana. So there's a couple things to get out of this. It's already spreading to Utah and Louisiana. We'll get to spreading later, right? But what should be most alarming is where it says this will also impact developers who will need to adopt new capabilities and modify behavior within their apps to meet their obligations under the law. Their obligations under the law being ensuring that this stuff is not being done by minors, which means in order for them to maintain their obligations under the law, that age data will need to go to them as well. So not only once this data is acquired and sent to the location, transmitted over there, there is no obligation on wherever this data ends up for them to keep the data safe and, you know, not let it spread out, not let it get leaked, not sell it, not any of that. Not only is that data going to them, that data is going to all of the other places all of the other developers who would need to adopt new capabilities and modify their behavior within the apps to meet their obligations under the law. They're also all going to get all of this, or at least some portion of it. They're going to get some kind of age verifiable data towards the users that are using their apps. There will be no amount of, hey, I'm not telling you my age whenever it comes to these apps. For example, like if I were to download Plants vs. Zombies right now, I'm pretty sure there's an app that does that. As soon as I open it, it gives me a pop-up. Hey, how old are you? What's your age? I could put in 2000. I couldn't. I could probably max out at like 99 as my age into that app, and it'll go, thank you for your service. Close and never say anything ever again. Under this law, I will not be able to lie about my age. I won't. I will not. Maybe Plants vs. Zombies will get like, hey, this user is legally allowed to do these things, which would imply that I'm like above a certain age marker. As of now, I could say, hey, if I want to be 6, I can be 6. I can go to Plants vs. Zombies and I can say, hey, I'm actually 6 years old. And that's all they're going to get. That's all they have to get. That's all I'm going to give them. But after this passes, they will know that I am over whatever legal age range is set into enforcement. And to make this even worse, there is already legal precedent that essentially just states, like, you as an adult have no First Amendment right to the protection of your identification data. Like, that is all, not necessarily identification, but like age data. Like, that is already something that has been established and is part of Supreme Court precedent law now. I'm not going to go through this whole thing right here, but if you want to go ahead and give it a read right now, it is of the court's opinion that you have no right to that data. You do not have a right to that data. You do not have a right to keeping that secure, keeping that confidential. And all this becomes even more cool and even more fun whenever it comes to stuff like data leaks, like with the T-App that I talked about a while back. It's been a long time now since that happened. The T-App had a massive data breach, a massive data leak, where every single person on the T-App who had submitted some kind of like photo evidence that they are requiring for you to create an account on the T-App got publicized. And a lot of the other people's data got publicized too. Like whenever it comes to like age and location and all these other stuff, public, gone, because the T-App did not properly maintain this data. They did not properly take care of it. It should have been deleted. And honestly, it should have been gone. It should have been deleted the second it's verified. Gone, done. Don't need it anymore. You don't need that data. It's not like this is something that's exclusive to like small things like the T-App or old things. This happened recently on Discord, an app that under this new law, you would have to submit some kind of identifiable information to Discord to be able to download the app.
And the thing is that they were willing to answer some of my questions, but first they wanted to set the record straight. They wanted to give me more details about the hack that Discord wouldn't tell people. The first thing I wanted to say is that this was by no means a small incident. They have over 1.6 terabytes of data exported. Most of it is ticket attachments, and a few hundred gigabytes of it is transcripts and other user data. In fact, they sent me this image showing the folder that contains all the files, but it contains 2,185,151 files. And if I scroll up a little bit, inside of this folder, we can see that not every single one of these are people and their government ID or a photo of their face. In fact, we only have this woman here, this guy with a piece of paper, this dude with a passport, government ID here, and government ID here. Those are the only photos in this brief little sample that we have that are government IDs. And in an article by The Verge talking about the hack, Discord told them that approximately 70,000 users had their government IDs exposed. But I don't want to downplay that any government IDs being leaked is a big up. Regardless though, things do get worse for Discord. With that Zen bar, it allowed the hacker to get billing and user information for any tickets, even if the ticket content didn't include it. So if your ticket was leaked, there's a good chance that even if it wasn't about billing, your billing information got leaked. And it was around 578,000 users that had their billing info leaked.
So, like big stuff, like even Discord, as of recently, is no stranger to having any instance, or not any instance, but no instances where they were required to obtain a user's government information, got leaked. So in the instance that, hey, maybe on Discord, I would like to purchase Discord Nitro and I'm doing it on my phone, or I'm not sure exactly what all exactly this bill specifically says this has to go into act for. Let me look into this. So I'm stupid. It says right here, relating to the regulation of platforms for the sale and distribution of software applications for mobile devices. So mobile devices. If I were to go onto my computer and say like, hey, I would like to pay for Discord Nitro on my computer, whatever, like fine. That's fine. But this doesn't necessarily directly say like, hey, if you're going to buy something on it, if you're going to do an in-app purchase, you have to have government identification. That's not what this bill says. What this bill does do though, is they set up the framework. Where now Apple and Google have this infrastructure set up. Every single time you do this action, you are required to submit your information to verify your age so that you can do this thing, right? And it would not be a far-fetch to say that the government now says, to maintain child integrity, to maintain safety of children, they now, every time you make a purchase, have to do something. Instead of downloading an application, if you were to make a purchase to do something, you now have to submit this information to. Because just like, let's think about it. Think about the future, right? It would be a very easy argument to say, hey, a bad actor would like your child to do something that you don't want them to do. However, you have already downloaded the app for them. You have already given them permission to download this app. All the developer has to do is now lock it behind a free in-app purchase, is lock it behind a $1 in-app purchase, a $2 in-app purchase, whatever. You've already given your children funds in their iTunes account that they can do whatever with, blah, 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 whatever. They now have free range to, on this, you know, unconvincing app, on this little app that you thought was fine. Roblox is a great example of this. You know, a completely harmless Roblox application. That child can now spend some amount of money to buy a cosmetic or something that has slipped past the Roblox moderation team. And now they have access to some, like, whatever pornographic material that piece of clothing was or whatever that's on their character now. This is bad. And they need to have your permission to do that. They need to have your consent. So we now have to obtain your IDs in order to prevent this from happening every single time you make an in-app purchase. Hey, sorry, we're protecting the children. It's out of our hands. This had to happen. It had to happen. So now whenever I go and I'm like, hey, I want to buy Discord Nitro as an adult, I say, hey, I want to buy Discord Nitro. And then Discord says, sorry, champ, we have to have your government ID if you would like to purchase Discord Nitro. Here you go, Discord. Here's a picture of my government ID. Please allow me to buy Discord Nitro. Oh no, we leaked your government ID again. Oh, who could have seen this happening? It already happened once. That means it surely will never, ever happen ever again, ever in the history of ever. It'll never happen again. How could we have seen this coming? It happened again. There are no protections in this law to prevent that from happening, and to and built into this to punish the people who made it happen. There are laws that there are ways for companies to see some kind of ramification whenever this stuff gets leaked, but a lot of times there are stuff built into the user agreements that you are agreeing to whenever you are submitting this information in the first place. It's like, hey, if something bad happens, you can't get mad at us for it happening. Like, that's so common. That is so insanely common. And having absolutely nothing in this bill to protect the consumer whenever it comes to your data leaking in this kind of fashion just sounds insane to me. I can't wait for this bill to be made law in Texas and me now have to submit my ID for everything I want to do. As more time goes by, it feels like I have less and less freedoms as an American citizen. It just feels insane how often I have to submit data to some group that I don't want to give them to be able to do something online. Whenever it comes to the internet online, it really, because of all these people keep saying, think of the kids, think of the kids, think of the kids, it really feels like I don't have freedoms as an adult to use the internet. Like, they are continuing to strip my freedom as an adult away from doing these things online. And as the current administration keeps going further and further down the line of punishing different forms of speech and saying like, hey, you know, the whatever said this was free speech, but really they were talking about something different, you know, whatever. We actually can punish this. It's not free speech anymore. We're switching up the way it is, the way it works. It really feels like the more that begins to happen and the more the government keeps demanding that we give up our government ID, our data, our age, all these other stuff to these companies, and they're now limiting what is and isn't free speech. It sounds crazy to sit here as an American, the land of the free, and see all of this happening. Our freedoms are continually being stripped away as adults, daily it seems. You know, you no longer have the right to conceal your age online. It has been decided by law, you no longer have that right. It's just insane. It's insane to me. It's insane to me. And this doesn't stop here. This doesn't stop in Texas. As I mentioned, as was in the Apple article, other states are adopting it. And what this does is, after it becomes hard in Texas, you have to do this, these companies have to build the infrastructure for it. And like I mentioned, the same way the infrastructure is built for this one instance, it'll be very easy for them to copy it to the other instance. It'll be very easy for legislators to say hey, you already have this infrastructure, use it here too. It'll be very easy for other legislatures in other states and in other countries to say, hey, you already have this infrastructure for this state, for this country. You're going to use it here now too. It makes it so easy. It makes it so easy for this to spread to everywhere. Yeah, anyways, that's the rant. I would appreciate if my data stayed my data and I didn't have to give it to everyone. I would appreciate that. I would appreciate that. I don't want to give, the website where I would like to stay anonymous my ID in order to download it. There are a lot of times whenever I don't want to give some things really that much data about myself. It's not very often, but there have been many cases where I don't want to give something really any personally identifying information. And I'll try my best within the entire range of me operating within that area to limit as much as what I give up to it. Also, this is not like the good guys shouldn't be concerned type situation, like a, hey, if you're not doing anything wrong, you shouldn't be scared of other people getting this information on you, because like, hey, if you're on these websites where they shouldn't be, where you don't want to give them this information, you're obviously doing it because you don't want this to be tied back to you. Or alternatively, the reason that I don't want to do it is because I don't want the bad guys to be the ones operating that website and then take that data that I'm giving them, that I have to give them now, and use it maliciously. So it's not just like, hey, I'm doing something wrong and I don't want the government to find that out. It's, I'm doing something on this website and I don't want these bad actors to get access to that and then use that against me in some way that harms me. Now, granted, there are so many ways for stuff to harvest information from us, and I will never know if I did or did not succeed in isolating and hiding myself from whatever I was using, because there's just so many little secret packets that exist here and there all over the place that are literally just there so that something or someone can harvest your data. And I would just like to, in a lot of instances, just keep it to myself. I'd like it to stay mine. I really would. And it's frustrating when the government says, no, you will be handing that over. You will give that up. It's just, screw you, man. Can I operate as a person, as an individual by myself? Please and thank you. All right, bye.